Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today I am super excited to be covering Ladies of London, Season 2, Episode 5, Clean Up Your Mess. I love Ladies of London. It just makes my heart happy to be talking about this. You guys are so awesome. You always leave the best comments that I love, and I'm so glad to have found my people who appreciate this show like I do. So let's get into this episode. Hey guys, I just want to take a second and say if you're enjoying this show, please check out my Patreon. Go to patreon.com, search Real Housewives Recaps, or check the comments below and I'll put a link. And for $1 a week, you can support my show and get 4 bonus episodes per month. I'm covering Scary Island, like the greatest season of Real Housewives of New York. So check it out. Thanks so much. Okay, so it starts off with Matt and Marissa. They are there to pick up their key for a Top Dog restaurant. Super excited. It's some sort of Asian restaurant at the moment, and it is changing hands to become the Top Dog restaurant. So then we see Juliette. She has gone over to the gift library to talk with Caroline Stanbury. And so Juliette is trying to do damage control here. She's trying to kiss Caroline Stanbury's ass because remember, the last interaction was not good. After New Year's, I'll wipe the floor with you and Gregor, blah, blah, blah. So she goes over to gift library, and Caroline Stanbury is saying, "You caught me at the end of a very long day." And Juliette says, "I have to tell you something. I can't let anyone but me tell you. I might have told Julie in passing about what you said about wiping the floor with me and Gregor." So Caroline Stanbury's pissed, and she finds out that Julie told Annabelle, and she said she's the town effing foghorn. Unless you want this to go around the group, you don't tell these women. So Caroline Stanbury said these things, but she's pissed that Juliette told people. Juliette's so busy trying to kiss her ass, she's like, okay, I'm sorry. So she's there to do damage control. So then we go over to Marissa and Matt, and they're explaining because they are restaurateurs, they take care of other people in the business, so when they go out to dinner, they get taken care of. We see them escorted to the chef's table, and Matt is supportive on the project about Top Dog, and it's amazing, it's terrifying, and she just doesn't want to let him down about this Top Dog. And she talks about juggling, working, and being a mom, and she's afraid she's going to fail, so from there, we go over to Julie and Annabelle. They're meeting up for some juice, and they talk about Juliette and her behavior, and apparently Juliette and Julie haven't spoken since Juliette got mad that, God, these names are so similar, but Juliette got mad that Julie was telling Annabelle what happened. And she brings up the look of horror on Juliette's face when she said it out loud about wiping the floor with her and Gregor. Annabelle says, "It's crazy that they're fighting about this. They should be joining together to confront Caroline Stanbury. Caroline can be cruel. She thinks it's okay for her to be like that." And Annabelle believes that Julie should confront Caroline about all this. But Julie's terrified and she doesn't want to be on her bad side. That seems to be a recurring theme. I get it. I wouldn't want to be on her bad side either. So Annabelle explains he's known Jules' husband since they were kids. So she said, "I'll always look out for his wife." Julie feels like she's in a no-win situation. So Julie, I like Julie okay. She always seems kind of frantic and spastic. So I don't know. I struggle to like Juliette because she's a kiss ass. But I get disappointed later in Juliette because she ends up, I'm not Juliette, Julie, God, these names. I get disappointed later in Julie because she's almost as much of a kiss ass because she doesn't like to fight, which I get. I'm the same way. I don't like it. I get anxious when I think I'm fighting with somebody. So, but we get a very funny welcome break here with Caroline Fleming. She's at her beautiful house in Chelsea. The doorbell rings, and it's her therapist that comes to her house. So she's talking, she reveals some real issues. P.S. Caroline Fleming is such a beautiful woman. I think she looks so beautiful in these shots. And I think it's so funny the faces that her therapist makes because she just talks on. And I don't know if it's the cut, the editing, what, But it seems to be when the therapist speaks, Caroline just goes right on speaking on over her and not listening. And she repeatedly not listens to the therapist and telling her about somebody she's fallen for. The therapist is like, okay. And one of the things I like best about my new friend is he has a very big heart. That's what she says. Oh, goodness. Her phone goes off in the middle of therapy, and at the end, basically, Caroline's just in her own little world. She's like, okay, we're done now. Oh, man, to be that rich. I was very curious, so I Googled it. Her net worth is listed at, any guesses? What do you think? 400 million pounds. Whoa! You never know if those are true or not, but if it's even in that ballpark, I am banging my head against my table. That's crazy. That's a crazy amount of money. Then we're over at Jules' house in Battersea. She's got Julie's unbelievable balls, and her daughter Emma helps her with that. If they're successful, they're going to use the money to help out Mapperton. And she calls herself a highly sensitive person. And if someone raises their voice, she says she's in tears. I get that. I might be that. But yeah, she calls herself a highly sensitive person, which I found fascinating. Okay, so then we go over to Sophie. She is meeting up with Caroline Stanbury. Of course, Sophie, I hate to spoil it, she was married to Caroline Stanbury's brother. They've since split, but they're sister-in-laws at this point. Caroline Stanbury gave up alcohol, but not coffee. So they're there to drink coffee and talk. They talk about New Year's and that whole stuff with Juliet and her husband and the fights with Julie and the fights with Juliet. And Sophie says, if someone took the piss out of me doing a headstand at the end of a table with my bottom showing, I wouldn't get upset. Which was pretty spot on. This is where I started to turn on. At first, I wasn't sure about Sophie, but I liked her here. I thought that was pretty funny, and I feel the same way. I mean, Julie got upset about the headstand. They were doing it at dinner with her undies showing. So, Caroline Stanbury talks about the fight at the office, and not going to fight with other people in her life. She's just so stressed out, and I actually really feel sorry for Caroline Stanbury here going through all this with the business. So then we go over to Marissa. She's at her office. She's meeting with a designer for Top Dog. It's her California dream and bringing it to London. Damien is an expert branding, and she's explained she met with Annabelle, who gave her some feedback about merchandise idea and press photos. So many things she's realizing she's forgetting about. And originally the place was 800 square feet, but now it's 4,800 square feet. How do you go from one to the other? Oh my goodness. Okay, so Julie. Julie is going to, it's a big night for her. She's going to meet with her potential investors. She's meeting with Phil and Ewan, and they're going to invest, or they're talking about investing. They usually look for a small startup, basically. So she's looking for about $150,000. She has her business plan. She's super nervous. She explained that she started making jub balls. My God, can't you come up with a better name? In her kitchen, and it's grown, and now she gets them in a lot of studios and gyms. She wants to get a distributor. There are 25 locations in London that she sells her jub balls through. Anyway, going forward, they're on board. They said that they believe in her. She's super excited. It sounds like they are going to give her the money to make it work. So she gets out in her car, and the first person she calls is Annabelle. She thanks her for her help and tells her that the people are investing. And she said she's going to use this to kickstart Jub and make it as big as she can. Spoiler alert. I did Google it, and I can't find Jub balls anywhere, so I think it must have ended. Oh, it stinks. Okay, going over to Juliet. So her daughter, who is adorable, Georgina, is walking around in her heels. They're going to be going to she's going to be going to Sophie's party, so she's getting her makeup done. She feels unsettled about Julie's stuff. We've seen Julie unable to hold things in on multiple occasions, is what she's saying. Meanwhile, we flash to Julie and Annabelle, who are also headed to Sophie's. Okay, so Julie becomes kind of a kiss-ass here, too, because not only does she have a gift for Sophie, she has a gift for Caroline. Why? Just because they got into an argument, so she's bringing her a gift. And Annabelle is shocked, saying, "We just had a conversation about confronting Caroline. What is happening here?" We go over to Sophie's party, and I want to go to this party because it looks so fun. They're drinking margaritas, and they had a piñata full of sex toys, which I thought was really funny. So Juliette saying, "We're allowed to slip up. I made a mistake. I'm not perfect. I just want to go and enjoy Sophie's party." Julie says she's petrified. She's shaking. She's so nervous. We see everybody arriving and greeting Sophie for her birthday. Here comes Jules. I think she has a beautiful figure. I don't understand how she dresses a lot of the time, but I'll say the same for Juliette. So she's very nervous, and she goes to greet, and she ends up hugging Caroline Stanbury and says she has something for her. And Annabelle says, in order to deal with Caroline Stanbury, you have to stand up to her, but now there's a present for her. So Juliette gets pissed. So it seems to be that Juliette wants to be Caroline Stanbury's best friend. So she's pissed that Julie is giving her a present. She says to camera, "So wait, you asked me to stand up to Caroline, now you have a present for her?" Julie gives her an olive branch and says she's sorry. It's a black and white t-shirt, and Juliette is just pissed about it. She's like, what is happening here? Julie is just trying to move on and make nice with Caroline, aka kiss her ass, taking a play out of Juliette's notebook. So there's Sophie with a piñata, and it becomes pretty funny. We see Marissa talking to Juliette. She ends up putting nipple clamps on her mouth to get her to shut up, which I found very funny. So then Juliette comes up to talk to Julie, who's talking to Marissa at the time. Julie says she was just trying to be a supportive friend to Juliette. Well, Juliette says, "So you being a supportive friend is you running to Annabelle and telling her about the wipe the floor thing?" This is such a silly argument. Annabelle says now they're fighting and Caroline Stanbury seems to have slithered away scot-free. Juliette says, "I know there's tension between you and Caroline Stanbury," and Julie says, Juliette is spinning the story to get out of the wrath of Caroline Stanbury. She's turning the conversation. Okay. We could go back and forth and talk about exactly what they said, but here's what's happening. So Juliette wants to be Caroline Stanbury's best friend. Julie doesn't like to fight when they fight, so she's trying to make nice with Caroline Stanbury. And they're both kind of arguing with Caroline Stanbury. It's a very strange fight. Generally, I'm not on Juliette's side. But Julie has her flaws too, so it's hard to care about this. I do like Caroline Stanbury. I know she can be a shit stirrer, but I like her. I think she's fun, and I think she adds a lot to the show, so it's fun to watch her. So, okay, so this was kind of funny too. So Julie and Juliette are talking, and they're fighting over who they're fighting with. And after Juliette starts all this by pulling her aside and talking about this, says, "I can't right now. We're at Sophie's party." Juliette is she's a monster. I think she just wanted to break away from the conversation with Julie so she could go buddy up to Sophie and Caroline Stanbury. So she goes out where they're smoking, and Caroline Stanbury saying, "When I'm done with the subject, that's it. I don't want to look back. It's gone, you know." And Juliette saying, "Caroline is right. Life shouldn't be so serious all the time." And Sophie thanks everyone for coming. They end up cheersing, and that is the end of the episode. On a funny note, I noticed Sophie just digs a knife into the cake, and I'm laughing thinking, okay, this is why they're so thin. Because I would be face first in that cake, and they're just like stabbing it and playing with it with a knife. So that is it for the episode, guys. What did you think? I thought it was pretty good. Juliette annoys me. Sometimes Julie annoys me, but it's still fun. I'm still enjoying it. I am very curious to see how the rest of the season plays out. It's been a while since I watched it, and it's fun to remember things as I watch it. So I'm really enjoying recapping it, and I hope you guys are enjoying it too. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoy and have a fantastic week. Bye-bye.